to be premiering the very first show of Deb Goldberg and Divine Relationship Recovery. Now, this program has been a love child of Deb and the Christ consciousness, Jesus Christ, because they've been working on this information together over several years. And we finally have Deb coming forward and putting this information out to all of you in a way that you all can interact with it. So Deb is going to start us off with the background of divine relationship recovery. And if you want to participate and ask a question, Deb's also going to share the phone number where you can get in on the Zoom call as well. We won't be able to see you, but we'll be able to hear you. So with that, Deb, so excited to have you.
Well, thank you. I'm really excited for this show and to bring forth this information to you. But we'll start with giving you the call-in phone number. And please, let's stick to the topic of what this show is about. And for today, it is about understanding the divine love and how it is in all of our relationships. So it is really important that we're sticking to the grounding of starting with a core understanding of who we are. So the phone number is 408-638-0968. And I'll repeat that again, 408-638-0968. Now, we're on Zoom, so you're going to have to put in a web ID number. So you're going to need this number as well. It's 152995556. Now, what I've done on the Facebook post is I have put in all of that information so that you can look at the top of the Facebook post if you didn't catch that phone number and the web ID. It might also ask you what a password, but you don't have to worry about it. Just keep going on and your phone call will go to Ruth. So we are very excited to start this show with you. So to get started with this, I want to thank you for watching today. Your higher self has you watching this video because it's time for you to expand back into knowing the divine being that you are, one of joy and love. And so your creator is calling you home to remember your oneness and to return to love. Today, I'm going to teach you what I've learned from my own experience through Jesus and God and the angels. So I'll tell you a little bit about me and how this all came to be. I was a therapist for 18 years. I did mental health and drug and alcohol counseling. And I loved my practice, but I always knew there was a God. I wasn't really sure what that was, but I also, and I kept that in my heart. And I felt like I was guided, but I didn't really have a relationship. As time went on, about 5 years ago, I was having trouble with some family members. And we had a lot of conflict. And I didn't understand why we were having this conflict because I loved them so much and I did not want to have conflict with them. And I was trying to understand why this was happening. And I came across this woman's work, and her name is Dr. Margaret Paul. And I found an article that she wrote about how we create our own pain. And that article kind of blew my mind. It just blew my mind wide open. And I started to ask the question how I am creating my own pain. And she was delivering a workshop soon, and I decided I'm going to go there because I never worked on myself personally. I always did CEU credits, which is continuing ed for being a therapist, which really didn't touch on personal work to do on your own self. So this is my first time, and I was 56 years old, where I decided to dig into my own self and open up my heart and really want to know why I was creating pain in my life. And during a meditation, she helped us meet our spiritual guide. And for me, I didn't know it was Jesus, but that's who showed up. I didn't know what to expect. I never meditated before 5 years ago. So the whole thing was just such an incredible experience. And because I was not really spiritually awoke, I didn't understand what was happening to me. And it happened really abruptly. All of a sudden, I'm in this meditation and I can see a man, and he's sitting with me and he's very loving. And we went through some healing activities in my mind, and I couldn't understand what it was because felt like I was watching a movie. It didn't make sense, but whatever it was so powerful and it was so loving, and I knew whatever I was feeling was divine love. And I went home and I started practicing what I learned, this meditation, with my clients, and I watched them open up to divine love and blossom, and it was so beautiful. This is what I want for you. I want you to have an awakened experience of divine love in such profound ways, and watch with great awareness of how it transforms you and your life to where you feel completely safe and loved, directed, guided into your divine calling, your purpose, and for whatever you believe that whatever you call divine love, your creator. Only your creator can do this with you. Only your creator knows your life path, and it is requesting an awakened relationship with you to co-create your life together in love, trust, and harmony. So it is very important for me to ground everybody in this core awareness that is within each of us of who we are and what we have access to, because that divine love is within all of our relationships, and it is the core. It is, you are in a relationship with God in every relationship that you have. God is in the middle of it. God is the other face that you see. God is your own face. And so I thought that I would also explain to you my version of what God means, because for everybody that's something different. So I use the term God to describe the source or creator of consciousness, the energy of unconditional love in this universe. And it's infinite and it's eternal. And it is the substance that everything is made up of. So that is my definition of divine love. And I use the term God, and because God has presented to me as a male form, I see God as a male form in my mind. And for me, that was because I needed to do a lot of healing because of trauma from male relationships as a younger person. Each one of us is going to have a different relationship with what I call God. You might see God as some other type of form. It could be light. It could be nature. It could be another type of form. It could be a female. It doesn't, divine love doesn't care what you call it. It just wants to be in unity with you because you are part of it. You are one with it. So it is really important that we start off our discussion with relationships about knowing who you are, because in every relationship that you enter into, when you don't know who you are, your relationships don't feel as good as they should. And what we want to do is help you have more loving relationships within yourself, loving yourself, and loving the people around you.
So Deb, I'm just taken aback because I know that you're Jewish, number one. So for Christ to come in and present himself to you, that was a huge stretch right there. But secondly, I'm really touched with the statements that God is love and that God wants us to learn and to be sustained and fulfilled from our relationships. And that you were saying that when you are looking at that person, that you're seeing God in that person. I mean, you have put a whole book into this first 5 minutes here, but
Mhm.
those things really stood out to me in particular.
Yeah. To awaken to yourself, and I guess we have a spectrum of people on this show right now. Some who are in the process of waking up, or they're asking questions. Why is my relationship not like what I want it to be? Why is it stressful? To people that are light workers, that have been awakened for years, that are in different stages of awakening. So whoever is watching this, it is for wherever you are in your stages of ascension. This journey is about getting closer and closer and closer to divine love, because that's all that you are. And Jesus showing up is, and what I've learned, so everything I am, you're hearing from me. In fact, God told me before I got on here not to worry, that he would be talking through me. So you're hearing from God. Jesus, I had a lot of trouble trying to understand why Jesus showed up to me in my meditation. Now, I understand Jesus was Jewish, but I really had no reference for Jesus, and I wasn't religious. I wasn't brought up talking about God in our home, but I understood I knew there was a relationship with God, and I didn't understand what it was. So Jesus is just another form of God's love. Angels are another form of God's love. God shows up to each person in the way that you will accept God, how you will accept divine love. And from person to person, you each are going to have your own relationship, your own unique story with divine love, and how you interact with that. Nothing else exists except for this substance of divine love energy, consciousness. Jesus has given me books and books and books about who God is, and who I am, and who we all are, and what this experience is about. And for me anyway, I had so much healing to do, because I had so many misbeliefs about who I was, who the world was, what a relationship should look like. My expectations were not correct. And so I had to relearn and undo everything that I have learned. And that came through what I call spiritual reparenting. So your relationship with God, or divine love, or your creator, whatever you want to call that, reparents you. Reparents you in learning about divine love and truth. So that is what heals people, is love. That is it. That is the only healing power, is divine love and truth. And what I learned is there was so much I learned about life that was not true. And of course, all of our relationships and experiences we have growing up form what we think relationships should be as we get older. And then we start entering into more serious relationships.
So, Deb, are you saying that in order to heal relationships that folks are in, myself included, that we need to experience healing ourselves? So, our love and understanding of ourselves, plus, I'm hearing understanding our connection, our divine connection with the spiritual divinity, that those two pieces are really critical to being able to heal relationships.
Mhm. Absolutely necessary, because everything I was perceiving was not correct. And so my time, and what I do is I have meditation every morning. And for everybody out there, I know that sometimes that's a really hard practice for people to start. And for me, when I came back from that workshop, when I first met Jesus, and by the way, Jesus did not show up to me as any kind of religious figure. Jesus was more like an archangel, but really my brother, my spirit brother, like all of us are. That where there's only equality. That is something else that I've learned, that there's only equality. Divine love has no gender, it has no religion, it has no socioeconomic status. There is only equality from person to person, because you're all the substance of God. So there's nothing else, absolutely nothing else. So in being spiritually reparented, you have to go through understanding why did these things happen in this relationship, and who do I have to forgive, and I have to forgive myself, because if not, it is flowing right into your relationships that you have now, and you're actually not just, you're perceiving that's the way it should be, so then that's what you're doing, is projecting those type of relationships. You're calling them in a sense, until you heal that.
So, Deb, can you talk a little bit more about spiritual reparenting? How does somebody learn more about it? If they want to work with you, is that something you can walk clients through, spiritual reparenting?
Yeah. So that's what I was doing once I woke up. I realized that, not that my clinical education didn't really mean anything, but I was an unhealed healer before, because I didn't understand divine truth. And so then I started practicing helping people with divine truth. And what I always did first is try to connect you to the divine, and then help that relationship, mentor that relationship by having you practice connecting with the divine, whoever you could connect with, that you would allow into your heart.
So, Deb, what I'm hearing, because I connect in with Archangel Michael and Raphael and the spiritual divinity as well, I'm hearing to ask you if you would just take about 3 or 4 minutes and just lead us through a meditative asking in the divine.
Yeah, and actually, I had planned on doing a little something.
Can we do that now?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Sure. And what I was saying before is, what really made a difference for me is I opened my heart, and I wanted to hear truth. I wanted to know the truth, no matter what it was, how I was creating pain in my life. And that made all the difference. So I want you to keep that in mind while we do a little bit of this. So I want you to take a moment to close your eyes. And I want you to breathe in through your nose slowly and deeply, and release your breath out through your mouth the same way. So you're going to take a very long, deep breath. And then just go into your normal breathing. And then take another long, deep breath in and release. And you can just go through this pattern for a couple of minutes. Your breath will take you to calmness and to connection. I want to set our intention today for expansion of our heart space and mind. We want to allow in divine love and keep breathing it in and let it hold you in great joy and love, knowing you are willing to allow this love to penetrate and awaken you to yourself to much deeper levels and increase your awareness of who you are and your connection. Take another deep breath. Divine love makes your heart beat. Divine love is the source of everything that you are. Divine love is your breath. Divine love is what you are. Let all of this love flow through your heart. Breathe in with more expansion of feeling the love within you. This love is just waiting for you to become aware of it. Every moment of the day. It wants you to know that it walks by your side, within you, through this life to help you live in awareness that you are experiencing this life together as a co-creator. So the intention today is that we're open to hearing and reflecting on what you're learning without judgment, knowing that you are right where you need to be in this moment. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back to the present. I recommend that you have some paper and pen to take notes because I love taking notes. And it helps me process and remember things that I hear that I think are really important. So I'm going to ask you to do that. If you're a note taker, you're gonna jump at that. This love is guiding you, healing you, talking to you all day long. It doesn't stop. And for me, I hear God's voice Jesus's voice is separate voices. I hear it as a male voice. Somebody, and I also hear it as my own voice. So there's no right or wrong, and each person is going to have their own unique experience with it. Sometimes I don't actually hear auditorily. I just feel it in my heart, as if I just got told something without the words, but my heart translated, and I know what I felt and I heard. So these are the ways that divine love talks to you. It also talks to you in your surroundings. It is always giving you messages. I also have images pop up in my mind when it's trying to lead me somewhere or tell me about something it wants me to do, like eat a certain thing. A food image will pop up, or it could be anything. It is talking to us all day long, but we're really not aware of it because we're so busy in our lives. And what's so important is, when I was awoken by Jesus, I guess what I realized is that there was so much misinformation and healing that needed to happen. And when I say healing, I want to be really clear about this, is that there is nothing wrong with you or anybody else. Nobody's broken. Not one person is broken. How can divine love be broken? The problem is that we believe that we're broken and need to be fixed. We have experiences sometimes, especially trauma. And, I talk about, and I'll talk about later on in another week, that we feel separated because we believe in a world of duality, which I'll go into in a little bit more. And the issue is there is no such thing as separation. And so if you are believing that you are separate from divine, which most people do, you feel like your humanity is brokenness. So, if you've had trauma in your background, and I started saying trauma is believing in separation. Everybody has trauma just because they believe that they're separate from God, or God lives outside of you. So we want to not view ourselves as broken or needs fixing. It is actually healing from a belief system that, we can hear what I might call ego thoughts that tell us things about ourselves and other people that are not always very nice. And those are the things, when you listen to that and you badger yourself and you become a bully to yourself in your mind, which most people do, these are the things we need to be healed from. And there's no truth to any of it. So when I needed to do all of this healing, I spent, I don't know how long, months, years, sitting in God's lap, my head in God's lap. Jesus has my feet, talking to me through everything that decided to show itself. It's sort of like you open Pandora's box when you start to awaken, and here comes what you would call the shadow side. All the shadow side starts to come up, and everything that you need to have healed is all coming up. And if you don't have a relationship, a loving relationship, and it is pure bliss. I have never felt love like this on earth from anyone. As much love that I feel from my relationships, the love that you feel from the divine is incomprehensible. It makes me cry when I feel so loved and accepted and graced for everything that you think and do that is not true. So to have the relationships that you want, you first have to have this relationship with God and yourself of knowing the truth of who you are.
So, Deb, one of the things that I wrote down when you said to take some notes, I wrote down that you had said no judgment, right where you are is perfect.
Mhm,
How beautiful. And what a statement full of grace
mhm.
that I don't have to flog myself, nor really is there any reason for me to flog anybody else thinking that the life that they're living isn't worthy, isn't the life worth living. So thank you for that. And I also loved when you said, this is how divine love talks to me. And I think it would be interesting for folks that watch this, for them to just over the next week before you come on next, to be thinking about and maybe even writing down, how does divine love talk to them?
Mhm. It's more of your nature. So, I know other people that uh, it takes on a different type of way. It's more about what your personality's like. It meets you where you are. So whatever your personality's like, that is where how divine love interacts with you. Because it is you and it made you unique. It made you your own self. And so you're going to have that relationship based on what how you are.
And really, isn't that the ultimate sign of God's love?
Mhm,
That it's we're all individual
mhm,
and we're also all the image of God.
mhm. Yeah. And the grace is unbelievable. Even I don't know what it was yesterday or the day before. I was thinking like, why do I think that way over something? I can't even remember what it was. And you just said, Deb, you had a lot of influence to think that way, meaning the earth world and experiences and what people told me or society or whatever. And the grace, it just keeps coming. It's sort of like, don't beat yourself up about it. This is what you're steeped in living in a world of illusion, of of non-truth. And and so you had a lot of help believing what you're believing. I thought that was just grace, just so beautiful.
Right. And no judgment, right where you are, right what you're believing, right
Yeah.
what you've experienced up until this point.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Yeah, because your ego will tell you you're not in the right place, you're doing something wrong. Why aren't things the way that they're supposed to be? I should be here instead of there. Why do I this, that, the next thing? This is all ego influence, which is more of an unconsciousness. But you're used to hearing that voice that is very demanding and driving of us. So that voice also, this is really important because when we meditate, a lot of times there's distraction from that voice or your mind just chatter, chatter, chatter. And God says, just keep coming back to me. Just, okay, it went, now come back to me. Come back to me, come back to me, come back to me. And it was funny because you're experiencing and exploring yourself all the time through everything that we do in this life and in your relationship with divine love. And I saw just how frustrated, oh my God, I would get so frustrated. Like I had this horrible relationship with frustration and everything. Like if I didn't get it right and I didn't get it right away, and because I would beat myself up, I would say to Jesus, make it stop. Make it stop. I don't want to hear it anymore. What am I supposed to do? He said, well, just keep bringing love to yourself. And I said, well, I did that. And he said, well, bring some more. Well, I did bring some more. Well, no, you need to bring some more. And it went like that. Bring some more, and bring some more and bring some more and bring some more. So I did not even know how to bring any kind of love to myself or self-love, because when I went through this process, I realized how much I hated myself. There were things that I thought about myself that were not in my conscious awareness. Okay. It was like stuff hidden within me. And so I had no idea what love looked like. I did not get role modeled it as a child. And when you're not in relationship with divine love growing up, you don't know what that looks or feels like. So I was like having to start from scratch of allowing God's love to keep loving me. And it took me a year and a half to 2 years to actually accept that love, because I just didn't want to accept it. I didn't know how. I didn't think I was worthy of it. And then he brought me another being, some angelic being that was supposed to be, and she was female, and she was supposed to teach me how to accept my own love. And it was profound, while he and Jesus were also working on me. And so the care and the love to undo and bring forth in you the love that you really are is, it's just magnificent. The whole journey, the awakening journey, is unbelievable. And it's cultivating you, and it's transforming you every single day, and you don't even really know it's doing it. But I can't have good relationships. I can't have deep relationships when I can't be deep with myself, and that I can't forgive myself, and I can't love myself, and accept all of me and what that means, because we are so complex. We have so many traits and so many adaptations that we've made to cope with life, patterns of behavior that we don't care for, that we hide underground. And until you come full face with all of that, and that's what people talk about, the shadow side, and really loving all parts of yourself, you can't have that relationship with anybody else the way that you want to. And you don't have to do this alone. You're not doing it alone.
So Deb, this is so profound. And I know that our time is really closing in on us here, but just wanted to recap what really spoke to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
That my relationships that I'm in right now, them getting better, stronger, more love-filled, is really dependent on a couple of different things. One of them being my relationship with myself.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being my relationship with my creator, however I personally view that. And I'm seeing like arrows bringing it back to return to love, because that's really, as you say, all we are is divine love. And if we can, what I'm hearing you say is, if we can come back around and return to that place of divine love, that there is grace for ourselves and for those that we're in relationship with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So with that, we're going to say thank you. Thank you, Deb, for being with us. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. And every week, Deb is going to take us just a little bit further into these lessons that she's learned from walking with Christ and with God. And then we want to hear from you as well about what relationships are you struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Deb is here, to help us with that.
Yeah, and I wanted to add that an exercise could be, because we wanted to do a call to action with these shows. And something you can start asking yourself is, what stops you from taking time to go within? to ask questions, to connect, or carving out time to meditate or be still so you can connect to the source of your life. What can you do to change your schedule so that you have time during the day to connect? And is this even important to you? And if not, why? So I want to leave you with those questions so that you can work on those and, understand yourself a little bit about what is necessary to take the next step into doing these things. And I'm also putting a challenge out there to stay present. Because if we can't stay present, and believe me, it's not easy when you're first trying to do it, and it's not easy anyway. When I first started, it might have been, if I had 1 minute a day of presence, it was a whole lot. And the more that you stay present, the more you are connected, you are aware that you're connected to divine consciousness. So I'm also putting that challenge out as how much do you think that you are staying present and not stuck in your head thinking about the past, the present, what you need to do next, or anything else that you're thinking about? Is staying present, you're not thinking.
That's great. And Deb, we accept your challenge.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So with that, friends, we're going to say thank you, Deb. Thank you for being here, all of our friends on Facebook Live and YouTube. And we're looking very forward to next week with Divine Relationship Recovery. So thank you.
Thank you. God bless.